Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Stack Adda. In today's video, we are going to learn how to create REST APIs using Spring Web module. To create REST APIs using Spring Web module, we must add this dependency, that is Spring Boot Starter Web dependency. Once we add this dependency to our project, it will automatically download the required Spring jars as well as the Spring dependent jars to our project. Remaining dependencies we can add based on our project requirement, like database dependency, JPA dependency, and logging framework dependency. Like that we can add as per our project requirement. So by default we get Tomcat as the embedded server. Let me show you CRUD operations project using Spring Boot Starter Web. I have already created this project using start.spring.io. We already learned how to create a Spring Boot project using start.spring.io in second video of this course. Let me show you pom.xml, what are all the dependencies I have added. Here I have Spring Boot Starter Web. It automatically adds all the required dependencies. And Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, we actually use it to interact with the database. And in this demo, I am going to use in-memory database, that is H2 database. And I also added Lombok dependency. For models, we generally generate the setter and getters methods. Using Lombok, we don't need to write the setter and getter methods. We can just add the annotations. It will automatically generate the setter and getter methods. So I will show you. And DevTools, we already discussed about it. When we change anything and save the file, it will automatically restart our application. And application.properties file. Here I have just changed the port number from the default 80802 to 1010. And these highlighted properties are related to the database properties. Spring.datasource.url, this is the database URL. So here we are using the H2 database. So I have declared here H2, and testdb is the schema name, and driver class name org.h2 driver, and database username and password, and the database platform. And the last property, it is required if you want to see the H2 console in the browser. I have already created all the endpoints. So in the root package, here we have the main class with the annotation at Spring Boot application. And in the sub packages, in the controller, I have created the controller. And in the entity, I have entity class. In the model, I have the model, which we actually return from the controller. So first I will start with the entity. So here I have created employee entity class and annotated with at entity. And here I have three columns. ID, it is also, I use it as a employee ID, and it is also a primary key, and first name, last name, annotated with at column. And if you see here, we don't have any setter and getter methods. I have added at data annotation. This annotation is from the Lombok library. It will automatically generate the setter and getter methods for us. And major change, if you observe in the import statements, previously we see javax.persistence.entity and javax.persistence.column, but now we see jakarta.persistence. So the change here is, so Oracle gave the Java W framework to the Oracle Eclipse Foundation. So once it has been moved to the Eclipse Foundation, Eclipse renamed all these packages from JavaX to Jakarta. This is the big change we can observe. And after entity, we need to create the repository. So this repository we created using the Spring Data JPA interface by extending this JPA repository. It is from the Spring Data JPA framework. We can learn more about it when we are discussing the Spring Data JPA framework. And we created service interface. Here we actually declare total 5 methods. Save employee method, it is used to save the employee into the database. Get employee by ID, we pass the ID and we get the employee details. Get all employees, here we actually pull and return the all the employees details. And update employee, we update the particular employee details. And delete employee by ID, we get the employee ID and we delete the employee. So for this interface, here we have the implementation class, and for this implementation class we have annotated with add service. These are all the Spring framework annotations, stereotype annotations, and here we have auto-write the repository here. So using this repository we actually save, update, delete, get all the employee entity class. And here we have the save employee method, and the repository will by default provide the save method. It is a part of the Spring Data JPA framework. So this save method will save the entity into the database table. And to get based on the primary key, we can use the find by ID method by passing the primary key value. Here ID is the primary key for us. And we use the find all method to pull all the employee details. And to update, we use the same save method. It will does the both save and update entity class. And to delete, we use the delete by ID method. It will accept the primary key value. And in the controller, here we are actually auto-wiring the employee service. Here we have total 5 services, and on top of this class we have added a trust controller and request mapping /employee. So this /employee will be a common prefix URL for all these endpoints. I will show you this prefix endpoint in the Postman. First endpoint we have save employee. We get the employee request body. We save the employee details into the DB. Once it is success, we set the status 1. In case of any exception, we set the status -1 and error message fail, and we send 500 HTTP response. And to send the response, we have created a model class, employee response. It has the base response with the fields status, error message, and in the employee response here we have the data as a list type. We have another endpoint to get the employee details based on employee ID. And here in the annotation as a path variable we pass the employee ID, and that value we read using the @path variable annotation. It is also Spring annotation, and we pass that employee ID to get employee by ID, and we get the employee details, and we set to the data node and we send it to the back to the client. And /all endpoints to pull all the employee details we call get all employees method. Update employee, for update employee we get the employee request and we update the employee details, and we set the status 1 and return the response. So for this one we use the put mapping annotation. For delete, we use the delete mapping annotation. We get the employee ID. Same, we use the add path variable to read that employee ID, and we pass that employee ID to delete employee by ID. After deleting, we set the status 1. Let me run the project. Right click, run as Spring Boot app. Application has been started on port number 1010. So before hitting these endpoints, we can view the H2 console in the browser. Let me open H2 browser. http://localhost port number 1010/H2-console. So here we need to, we already have the JDBC URL. Username is also there. Just enter the password and connect. Now we can see the table is created, employee table, and if I run, there are no records. Let me insert some records from Postman. First, I will add the employee ID 1, first name Narayana, and sending. We got the success response, status 1. Now if we go and run again, now we can see one record here. Let me add one more record, ID 2, first name Hari and last name Bajja only, and send. Now also we got the success response. If we go and run again, now we can see 2 records. And we also another endpoint, get by employee ID. So for that one, after /employee, we need to pass the employee ID. Now I am passing the 1. So I got the employee ID 1 details. If I change to 2, I will get employee ID 2 details. There is another endpoint to pull all the employee details, that is /all. If I hit, I get all the employees details. And another endpoint we have update employee. And here, so we have Ari as the second employee with the first name Ari. Now I'm adding another extra letter S. Let me send the request. We got the success response. If I run the query again, now I'll see the updated first name Hari S. And the last endpoint we have delete endpoint. So for this delete endpoint, we need to pass the employee ID number. So if I send, yes, we got the success response. If I go and check in the console, Hari employee got deleted. Now we have only one record in the table. So this is the way to develop the REST APIs using the Spring Web module. Thanks for watching. Please share this video with your friends. Please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.